In Oregon, this is NBC 16 News at 5:30.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Jacqueline Mazer. Now, for the second day in a row, Oregon has set a record for the highest single-day total of new coronavirus cases. The Oregon Health Authority announced 278 new cases and 2 more deaths. The state has now surpassed the 6,000 mark in cases and now has 180 deaths. Take a look at this bar graph to put those numbers into perspective. Now, for the 6th day in a row, cases in Oregon are topping 100. The biggest number in cases are found up north in Multnomah, Marion, Washington, and Clackamas County. Combined, more than 4,200 cases were reported since the pandemic started. These are the total number of cases reported in our region. Lane County has a total of 90 cases. 7 people are still sick, and all of them are recovering at home. As a reminder, Governor Brown placed a 1-week hold in reopening applications after a spike in cases across the state. And Governor Brown called for a special session next week. So beginning Wednesday, state lawmakers will consider bills to increase police accountability and address the coronavirus pandemic. The state is also tasked with holding this special session remotely or by social distancing. One thing they will not take up this special session, the major budget deficit brought on by the pandemic. The governor says that will likely be the subject of a separate session later this summer. As it relates to the coronavirus, Governor Brown says she wants to codify some of her executive orders into law, like eviction protections. Senator Tim Knopp says he wants to make sure people get financial help who suffered from coronavirus. He says he wants to get the economy going again.
I think you're going to see more than a 1 or 2 day special session. I think you'll probably see multiple days. And I think the issue of how many bills we'll make it will depend on when legislators actually get a chance to see those bills.
We're continuing to see people make sure that they want to try to make sure that everyone's safe, not just from the virus. Let's be very clear. The racism and other things that we've been dealing with has been a virus as well that's been going on for a long time.
Senator Lou Frederick says he's focused on concepts surrounding police accountability. He has several changes he wants to bring forward. Again, we don't know how this session will look. It could be a mix of remote work and social distancing at the Capitol. We'll turn now to a live look at the White House, where President Trump signed an executive order today on police reform. The executive order puts a ban on chokeholds unless an officer's life is at risk. It will create a national database to track officers with complaints of misconduct. The executive order will also make federal grants available to police departments who meet certain standards, and calls for police to have social workers involved in calls dealing with mental health, homelessness, and addiction. It comes 3 weeks after the death of George Floyd. The order applies to every police department in the country. Well, police arrested 10 people overnight after protests in downtown Portland turned violent. According to police, protesters threw a rock, hitting a Clark County deputy in the head, sending him to the hospital. Clark County is providing mutual aid. Police also arrested several people suspected of smashing the window of a business on Northwest David Street and looting. Police say most of the protesters who gather nightly at Revolution Hall are peaceful, but a smaller group is bent on mayhem.
Every night we've had a fairly determined group of people come downtown and unfortunately engage in a lot of criminal activity. And we've seen a lot of dangerous objects thrown and launched at police with slingshots, things like bricks, rocks, ball bearings.
According to Deputy Chief Davis, it's frustrating for police to be treated this way, but he says officers are trained to show restraint. Well, a man is in custody after police say he spent the night on top of a railroad sign in Eugene after apparently throwing rocks at people without wearing any clothing. Eugene police say it started around 9:30 last night, with the man reportedly exposing himself to bystanders. He apparently threw objects at people, striking a person in the head with a rock. He then climbed a railroad sign on the 200 block of Washington Street. Area roads were blocked off, and crisis negotiators arrived around 8 this morning. Nearly 2 hours later, the man jumped down and ran away, but was caught by a canine and officers. His identity and condition are not yet known. Well, we have an update on the body found along Tiller Trail Highway last month. The Douglas County Sheriff's Office identified the body as 22-year-old Eduardo Garcia Castellanos from Mexico. The Douglas County Medical Examiner's Office is investigating the cause of death. Anyone with any information is asked to contact the Douglas County Sheriff's Office. Well, scary scene for one woman from Coos County over the weekend after going off a ledge. Even though her car may be a total loss, she survived. NBC 16's Amanda Slee has this story.
A wife and mother of two headed home Sunday after being released from the hospital when suddenly,
1 second, everything was fine. I was driving, and then I woke up to going down off the ledge.
Vandale says she was on the Coos River Highway when she fell asleep at the wheel, veered into the grass, and was launched into the river.
The wood pillar things in the water, I hit it going 50. The whole front end of my car was gone.
Once in the water, she was able to roll down the window and swim under the airbags to get out. An off-duty fireman saw it all happen, pulled over, and talked her through everything.
John was like, "Come here, you need to swim." And I was like, I can't do it. He was like, "You've got to swim over here." And so I was able to get out of my car and he swam over.
She says he helped her out of the water, checked her injuries, and made her feel safe during what was a traumatic experience. Vandale came out with only bruises, but now she wants others to know,
if you're tired, do not drive. I cannot believe how quickly something can happen. I mean, happens so fast.
In the end, she's thankful that things weren't worse. And for John Aldrich, who acted quickly and calmly to help her. Reporting in Coos County, I'm Amanda Slee.
All right, thanks, Amanda. What a scary moment there, my goodness. Well, heads up for drivers tonight. Some upcoming construction projects on Beltline will close ramps this weekend. Several projects in Lane County are pushing ahead despite coronavirus delays. Oregon Department of Transportation crews took advantage of slow traffic during shelter-in-place to jump on getting some work done. The lanes on I-105 are now flipped. Both lanes of traffic over the Willamette River Bridge are in the westbound lanes. The ramp off Delta Highway north to Beltline East will be closed starting this weekend, possibly causing some detours.
It looks a little different. We're going to have closures here and there, especially at night. You just need to be a little more aware than usual.
Starting Friday night, the Goodpasture Island Drive ramp running northbound will be closed. Crews will be paving the new on-ramp at Delta Highway. Those closures will start Friday night at 7 o'clock. The road will reopen the following Monday at 6 a.m. You can find a full list of ODOT's construction projects and closures by checking TripCheck. Well, coming up on your only local news at 5:30, RV sales went up when the pandemic kicked up, but now one RV service center is closing its doors after 5 years. And when we're not on air, we continue to bring you the latest developments on our website, NBC16.com, and on our Facebook page at KMTR News. You can also download our KMTR News app on your phone.